Been to ESPN FC Live. Group D has just ended. It is a big fat D for drama. How do you solve a problem like Austria? That's what we're talking about today. Austria have just topped the group against the odds. We've got Fresia Cuscino Arias with us to talk about it, Luis Miguel Echegaray, and Stevie Nicol as well. Let me start with you, Luis. Let me give you your flowers. You said Austria were going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Don't even think that I didn't appreciate your Sound of Music right there, by the way. And by the way, this is not, and we said it in the previews on this show, everybody, this is not your grandparents' Austria. This is not your Sound of Music Austria. This is the Ralf Rangnick revolution. Only Germany have scored more goals in this competition than Austria right now. Without David Alaba, by the way, a key player for them. And you have to give it to them. You have to give them flowers. You have to appreciate the fact that in a group that included France, that included the Netherlands, and Poland as well, who they can show up when they want to, obviously not in this tournament. It's really remarkable to see this transformation. This, by the way, is not a shocker, Kay Murray, because Ralf Rangnick has already shown what he can do when he introduces his identity, his philosophy, and Austria for a while now, for the last few months, have shown it. Now, the good news for everybody else in the group, specifically our friend Fraser here, is that the Netherlands are still going through. But as it stands, it could be that they face England, but maybe Austria as well. I mean, England need a big result against Slovenia, but let's end it where we started, Kay Murray. Austria, tremendous. They go at you. They're fantastic, and I'm all about it. I love it. I love this underdog story.
Okay, Fresher, let me get your feelings on what you've just seen from the Netherlands today. It's 36 years today since the Netherlands won the 88 Euros. Obviously, weren't able to celebrate that in style. Yes, they are through, but how are you feeling about them being third in the group? Obviously, Austria first now and France second.
First of all, let's stop talking about 1988. I mean, we don't have any reason talking about it now. Well, I thought yesterday's standings and the end of those matches were crazy, but this stopped it for me. And yeah, I mean, really painful for Joey Veerman, who got sent off after 30 minutes already got off by Koeman. And he brought him on to have the control, and he's known for his passing accuracy. Well, I just saw all of his touches. He had the ball for 29 times. He lost it 16 times, which is a passing accuracy of 47%. Well, you guys follow the game. That's not much. And definitely for Joey Veerman. So this is going to be a painful moment in his career. He's going to learn from it. And I don't think he's going to forget it anytime soon.
Yeah.
So it was quite painful, but I'm glad we're still through. And yeah, I mean, I've seen England so far. I have a few English friends, so that would be fun.
Yeah, could be on a collision course to face one another. Stevie, what stood out to you from this game? Was it this high intensity approach that we're seeing from Austria, or was it that you thought you might have seen more from the Dutch today?
Probably a little bit of both. I think you got to look at the Austrians and say that it's a little machine that just keeps on going. It never blinds you with class, and it's never dour. But somewhere in between the two, they get the job done. It just keeps going, and that's what they did against the Dutch. I mean, for most of the game, I'm thinking the Dutch might have taken some chances during the game. Reinders, I thought, had a good chance earlier on. I actually also thought that Weghorst should have had a penalty. In my opinion, it should have been 3-3. But the truth is, the referee never gave it. VAR never gave it. And so it finishes 3-2. But, yeah, disappointed in the Dutch. I guess, having watched them through the group, today's just an example of, I'm not sure who the opposition is, but you know that they can beat the Dutch. Or the Dutch can beat themselves. They just look vulnerable. But as I said, Austria, just a little machine, a little solid truck that just you can't push over. You can't stop it going forward, and just keeps getting the job done.
And it was a shirt pull, right, Stevie? Do you remember that moment, Fresher? What was your response? Do you think that the Netherlands should have had a penalty?
Yeah, I mean, I knew right away when the ref didn't see that moment. I knew that the VAR was not going to do anything about it. But yeah, we were quite unlucky also with the. But
that's what VAR's for. And the fact that you said that is ridiculous. That is why we have VAR, because if the referee doesn't see something like that, VAR's supposed to do its job. And don't
Yeah,
tell me about it,
and
because he should
and
have
it was
done
also
for
it was
Scotland
also
as
with the
well.
goal from Memphis. I didn't even know why the ref was going to the side to watch that moment, because it was really clear for me that it was 100% goal. Definitely with the last angle you saw with the camera, where there wasn't any handball near. So yeah, I could see the doubting moment, but yeah, shouldn't be going to the side if you ask me.
Let's get to the fact then, LME, that it is Austria topping the group here. Like, they obviously come into this last round of games. We're talking about them still being in contention. Do you think they had that belief that they'll be finishing today top of the group?
I mean, I think, like I said at the beginning, right, Kate? Like, I mean, they finished first in the group stages of Europe of the Euros for the first time in history right now. But also, like, when they were qualifying for this competition, they only conceded 7 goals. They were like really demonstrating what they can do with this new system. And Stevie's right; they're a machine, because they don't really rely on anybody specifically incredible. They have talent, of course. Sabitzer was that wonderful goal, and other specific focal players that can help you move forward. But they're more of a cohesive unit. And I believe that when you looked at this group, and I know that Frasier has talked about it before here on the show, is that Netherlands entered this tournament with a few question marks. I think Frankie de Jong's absence is key, because part of what Koeman likes to do is sort of begin everything in the makeup of the midfield and just counter and then look for the attackers. And then my other thing, as talented as Memphis Depay is, and Weghorst and what he can offer off the bench or whatever, they still don't have a 9 to me that speaks, oh my God, I'm so scared of them. And France, listen, my friend Jules Laurence is going to be mad at this, but the amount of criticism that we have given England, I will give it to France as well. Because
well, yeah, but we'll get to France next. Stick with where we are now.
So the reason why I brought them up is because when you looked at this group, I think Austria looked at this and said, we can win this. We can win Group D. And when you have a system, an identity, an idea of play, no matter who it is on the pitch, then you can make it happen, which is a reminder. Austria were playing like this before this competition started, which is why I was so high on them before it even started anyway.
Anyone that stood out to you, Stevie, for the Austrians, a player like Sabitzer, anybody that you've got your eye on in that game?
Absolutely not. But I think that's the strength of this team, though. That you can't put your finger on anybody. It's just a unit. It really is. They score their goals from nowhere. All of a sudden, they've scored a goal. You don't see any incredible 30 passes and all kinds of. You just don't. They just do it, and they do it in a quiet manner. And nobody sticks out. And the reason nobody sticks out is because every single one of them is playing at the same level, doing the right thing, picking the right pass at the right time, and then when they get their opportunities, like they did today, they took them.
All right, Frasier, before we do let you go, I wanted to just ask you what your positives and your negatives are from Netherlands going forward from here. Like, what concerns you and what actually gives you reason to hope?
Well, what definitely concerns me is that, this far in the tournament, you should feel like there's a plan, or that there's just 1 or 2 names switching in the starting 11 if it comes to tactical reasons or something like that. But I can imagine Koeman is quite confused after this 3 matches, because what should he do? The midfield is not in balance. Should he pick Dumfries again in the last line? Shall he keep focusing on Memphis Depay? So I can imagine he has a hard time making those decisions, and where it should be getting clearer throughout the tournament, I think he has a lot of question marks right now, and he could be really furious after this game. But yeah, I like to end positive, and that's that it also looks a bit like a tactical problem. And if there's a tactical problem, you can do something about it. So if anyone has a brilliant idea, send it towards somebody Dutch, and we'll make sure it comes to the coach.